Hello and welcome back to Skye Spearfishing. In this episode I'm going to show you how I built this inverted roller gun. In the summertime I went diving with a Spearo who built his own inverted roller guns. He let me have a shot of it and I was really impressed with how they worked, and they weren't actually as complex and difficult to use as I had in my head, that they were this really complicated gun that was a pain and just so overcomplicated that they weren't practical. They were actually, once you got used to them, fairly straightforward to use and really enjoyable to hunt with. As you'll be aware, I like creating my own guns. I've made two in the past. I'll put the link in the description up here as to the other videos. So I've got my roller gun here and I've got my double banded rail gun. I really enjoy hunting with these, but I thought let's have a go at making this roller gun. Hopefully at some point I want to get outside the UK, go abroad and use this gun to hunt something a little bit bigger, hopefully into blue water. I hope you enjoy this video. They're definitely a wee bit more complex to load, however once you get used to it they don't take that much longer than a standard gun. So I've got a carbon fibre barrel here, it's 90 centimeters long. You'll also need an inverted roller head, then silicon bungs, a set of pulleys and a set of shackles. These are 4mm shackles. You'll need a handle for your spear gun. I've chosen a handle, it's got a built-in anchor and it's got a fitting for the reel. I've got a vertical reel which I'm using on this gun, and then I've got this bolt here which has two beads which are drilled. So you start off by threading this bolt through the handle, which is your anchor point for your first set of bands, and then check that it fits in with the right depth on the beads, and then once you've got that measured, cut the other side of the bolt. At this point obviously there's no going back, that bolt's not coming back out without a lot of work. Got some thread lock here. I just opted for removable because it was all I had to hand. So put a dot of that on there and then screw these beads in, and hopefully that should be them more or less a permanent fixture, ready to hold the pre-tension on the 18mm bands that we're going to put on the sides of this gun. I've slightly sanded down this barrel so it's got a slight bevel on it, and then a bit of Vaseline onto the silicone plugs. I'm pushing these in with a socket set just because it's an easier tool to use than my fingers. It's really important that you use the silicone bungs in order to stop water ingressing into the barrel, which would affect the buoyancy of the gun.
So by the time there's something just weird about you rubbing.
So, wait, do you want me to make a little bit more eye contact, you?
Please don't. So he can't even look at you.
I wasn't going to use any of the audio for this, but now I might have to keep some in. Then I put a little bit of paper here and tape this down just in order to drill it easily without slipping. Once you've drilled the pilot hole, it's just a matter of lining everything up and screwing it in place. I then place the two bolts onto the reel and then fix the reel to the handle and tighten it up. After this I wind the reel line onto the reel, and at this point you can then fix your handle on in exactly the same way that I've fixed the roller head on. And the next part is the far more challenging part, which is making sure all the bands are cut to the right size. So get a chopping board knife, cut the bands to the desired lengths. I'm using Signal Sub Extreme rubber here. This is a really progressive rubber that I really like for roller guns. So I'm using Rob Allen Dyneema here. I really like this Dyneema as it's really strong. It's the same Dyneema that I'm using for the pulley system. It's the 2mm stuff, it's absolutely bulletproof. And I'm just making a simple overhand bend, which I'm then cutting the ends of, fluffing them up, and then using a lighter to seal them. Two longer bridle inserts are for the 18mm bands, which I'll use to wrap around the anchor points. I then use a little bit of washing up liquid in order to help ease the bridle into the hole. I then get a set of forceps, I hold the knot pinched in the forceps and push it inside. I have got a rigging tool for inserting bridles. However, this rubber has such a small diameter hole that it doesn't actually work, so I prefer forceps as it's easier to push it in and then take the forceps out. You'll then need to tie a constrictor knot in order to hold the bridle in place. So I lay the line over, I've got a double-handed loop on one side, and then I just put it round over itself and back under, and then I give a little bit of slack and I push it back under the initial line that I first laid, like so. I find with this knot it's really important that you wet it a bit, because it can sometimes burn itself a bit on the rubber if you pull it tight without wetting it. So a little bit of just wet that. However, I just use a little bit of saliva, and then from there I get two tools, so like a screwdriver and another screwdriver or something similar, and I just pull it tight. You really need to put a lot of force into this and pull it as far as you can. It takes a lot of pressure. The last thing you want is an insert flying out of speed when it's under tension. Fluff up the ends, and then with the lighter just push those down, and that'll just ensure that they don't slip. It kind of puts a stopper on the end of them. Got two 18mm bands, I've got two 16s, and I've got another two 16s. With the 16s, on one end I need to tie a link between the sets. So here is a double sheep bend. It's a really simple knot, but it holds really well, especially under tension. Then you get your Dyneema that you're going to use for the pulley system, run that through the roller head, put it through one side of the pulley, and then take it back through the roller head where the anchor point is, and pull it back through, put your pulley on the other side, and then feed it through and around the roller head. So you should have a pulley on each side linked through, and then you're going to get your shackles, and you're going to, in the right order, get your two 16mm bands and your 18mm, and then get them, connect them to the pulley, and then make sure that the bolt's nice and tight so that they're not going anywhere. They are fixed now. And this is the 18mm band now, which is going to go around the anchor point that I've made. I've looped it around twice, you don't need to though. And then there'll be your first set of 16s and your second set of 16s, which are on the anchor point by the reel. Now it's just a matter of tying on the bridle. I actually started off with 3mm Dyneema for this, however after a while I realised that it wasn't the best and it had a tendency to slip. So in the end I actually opted just to use 2mm Dyneema again. At this point it's just a matter of rigging your spear onto the gun now. The spear I'm using for this is a Pathos spear. It's a 7mm spear, it's 130cm long with a double flopper. I run my shooting line out of the reel, take it round, do a single wrap, and then place it onto the spear. I prefer this method instead of using a mono shooting line. I just go straight from the reel now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, could you please hit the like button, as it actually makes a difference, and if you got any questions, drop us a comment. Thank you for watching.